the city council meeting. We will now go on to presentations. Agenda item number 1 is fiscal year 21-22 docket 2, scholarship grants awarded by Vernon Community Fund Grant Committee. City Clerk Polk will present the item.
Thank you, Mayor. The item before you, our certificate of scholarship award is presented to the following students in recognition of outstanding academic performance, personal achievement, community involvement, and leadership. Please come up to the dais as your name is called. We will recognize each grantee individually. First grantee is Alejandro Hernandez. Alejandro is a graduate of Loyola High School. In the fall, he plans to attend Cal Poly Pomona or maybe Loyola Marymount University to study engineering. Congratulations, Alejandro, on your VCF Scholarship Award. Next, we have Lucia Langani. Lucia is a graduate of Maywood Center for Enriched Studies Magnet High School. In the fall, she plans to attend either Caltech, USC, or UC Berkeley to study computer science. Congratulations, Lucia, on your VCF Scholarship Award. Next, we have Hamilek Soto. Hamilex is a graduate of Huntington Park High School. In the fall, she plans to attend UCLA to study civil engineering. Congratulations, Hamilex, on your VCF Scholarship Award. Holly Vega. Holly Vega is a graduate of Bell Senior High Magnet. In the fall, she plans to attend Cal State Long Beach to study computer science. Congratulations on your VCF Scholarship Award. Priscilla Villegas. She is? Oh, no. She could not join us at today's meeting, but we congratulate her on her scholarship award. Thank you.
Do you need a motion to receive and file?
Yes, if we could have a motion to receive and file the grants. Thank you.
I'll move.
Should you mind.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Merlot. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Oh, we lost-
Yes.
Councilmember Merlot,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will now go on to agenda item number 2. It's the city administrator report. City Administrator Fandino will present the item.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor and council members. Today, I'd like to discuss 8 different topics. Sterigenics updates, Santa Clara Data Center tour, the new business welcome, the Vernon Business Breakfast. The Vernon Police provided an active shooter training presentation, the VPU Mutual Aid Assistant Network, passport services in Vernon, and community engagement. I'll begin with the Sterigenics update. The South Coast Air Quality Management District, known as SCAQMD, is a regulatory body with jurisdiction and authority over air quality in much of Los Angeles County, including the Vernon area. On May 6, 2022, the SCAQMD issued a press release regarding ethylene oxide emissions near the Sterigenics facility in Vernon and reported on a notice of violation it issued to the business. Subsequently, LA County Supervisor Hahn urged AQMD to require Sterigenics to cease operations of any activity contributing to elevated and air emissions of ethylene oxide at its Vernon facility. Since then, the Vernon Health Department, along with staff from LA County Department of Health, has met on several occasions to better understand the issues identified in the notice of violation, as well as to better understand whether the emission levels of ethylene oxide being monitored by SCAQMD pose an elevated concern to the community. The city has also sent a letter to SCAQMD requesting clarification regarding the reported emissions. We've also met with Sterigenics to better understand the required use of ethylene oxide in their sterilization process and overall facility operations. We've also contacted the city of Maywood officials to reiterate Vernon's shared interest of ensuring the safety and welfare of workers and the general public, including Maywood residents. We've also conducted public outreach via community advisory flyer distributed to the surrounding business and community members by adding a Sterigenics news item on the city's web site homepage. As of most of the recent data, AQMD reports the measurements of ethylene oxide in the community near Sterigenics are below the health risk levels established by the California Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment. The city is awaiting further data and direction from AQMD regarding the emission levels at the Sterigenics site. The business is in compliance with the City of Vernon permits. With us today is Al Lopez. He's the general manager of Sterigenics in Vernon. Mr. Lopez will provide a brief update on their work and is available to answer any questions regarding the operation and sterilization facilities here in Vernon.
Good morning, Mayor, council members. My name is Al Lopez. I'm the general manager for Sterigenics LA-based facilities. Service is an important concept to me. I joined Sterigenics after a 24-year career in the US Navy because I wanted the opportunity to keep doing a job that was of service to the community. The Sterigenics Los Angeles serves the community through sterilization of 3 to 4 million medical devices and essential supplies each month. This includes surgical kits, catheters, heart implants, stents, IV sets, and more. They're provided to nearly 100 healthcare customers, including dozens in the Los Angeles areas. We also sterilize surgical and other equipment for local hospitals and medical centers, thus contributing to the health and well-being of patients and medical care workers in our communities. In Los Angeles, as in many other facilities across the country run by Sterigenics and other sterilizers, the process used for sterilization is ethylene oxide. Nationally, this ethylene oxide process accounts for the sterilization of more than 20 billion critical medical products and devices each year. These 20 billion products and devices in turn represent roughly half of all medical products that require sterilization in the US. For many of those 20 billion devices and products, the use of ethylene oxide is the only way to meet strict FDA standards for sterility. Last month, the South Coast Air Quality Management District issued a warning to local communities that they found an average of 63.9 parts per billion of ethylene oxide in an industrial parking lot just outside of our facility in LA. I want to be clear that the district also noted that these levels dropped significantly within 150 feet from the facility. The Air Quality Management District also issued a notice violation to our facility. We are cooperating with the district and have already addressed all of the concerns raised in all 4 items identified by the district, and we consider these resolved. Of significance to the communities, the Air Quality Management District has noted that air monitoring samples taken in the residential community were below California Health Work standards. We continue to actively cooperate with the Air Quality Management District to further reduce emissions and resolve any concerns that remain for the industrial area just outside our facility in Vernon. Among other actions, last week, we retested the effectiveness of our emissions control at the facility. We confirmed that we control over 99.9% of our primary EO emissions, performing better than our permit requirements. This was confirmed by third-party tests overseen by the Air Quality Management District. As I mentioned to the Maywood City Council, I had a successful career in the Navy before this, and I know that what I did next needed to be as meaningful, and Sterigenics has met that criteria. I joined Sterigenics LA precisely because what they were doing felt safe to me and because I felt safe working there. In conclusion, we look forward to engaging more deeply with our local communities and continuing the important work that we do for the community and the nation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll move on to the Santa Clara Data Center tour. On May 19th, myself, along with a couple members of the leadership team, visited the city of Santa Clarita to gain a better understanding of the data centers. Specifically, we wanted to gain a better knowledge of construction timelines, scale of data centers, and the overall energy usage and utility needs. The city of Santa Clarita has over 55 data centers that are served by Silicon Valley Power, their municipal-owned utility. The Vernon team continues to do research on modern data centers to ensure that this new prospective business sector meets the Vernon's vision to attract clean and green business operations that will appeal to Vernon residents and improve the quality of life in our community. On this next slide, you see typically, although we did not visit these specifically, we spend a whole day touring facilities like this. So this is what your typical data center looks like inside and then outside. They're usually around 3 to 4 stories, and they provide security around the outside, along with inside infrastructure for server racks and so forth. So we gained a great insight on perspective, lease tenant needs, overall power demand requirements, electric reliability expectations, and sales tax discussions. In our tour that day, we did meet with their assistant city manager, and we went with different project managers within the utility and gained tremendous perspective. Tomorrow, myself and other team members will go to another site here locally in Los Angeles. We will tour that facility, and I'll report back at the next council meeting. Moving on to the new business welcome. From April through the present, the city issued 11 certificates of occupancy to new businesses located in Vernon. This slide represents a few of those new enterprises. Their operations range from a garment cutting to warehousing and distribution of paper products and licensed sports apparel, excuse me. The Vernon Business Breakfast, we feel that it's important that the city staff remain connected to our Vernon businesses family. We understand that there are certain challenges, particularly in recent years, that may call for discussion. On May 11th, the city provided a forum to meet with the city administrator and the department leaders and ask questions, share concerns, and connect with fellow businesses. There was approximately 20 business representatives in attendance. Thanks to their participation, we gained valuable insight on some more prevalent urgent issues that businesses are facing. This event will be scheduled in a biannual moving forward, and the next one is scheduled for November 9th. Different community leaders were able to express some of their concerns and frustrations, and we were able to address some of those on hand directly with the businesses. And in some cases, we were able to rectify them fairly quickly. For example, we had one business that has a internal fence and an external fence, and they put this internal fence in order to prevent the theft of catalytic converters inside their facility. And so they were under the impression that they could no longer operate the electrified internal fence, and they were frustrated because it opened them up to theft possibilities. So they brought their concerns forward. We met with staff, and we were able to handle all the issues and rectify it and move forward. So that's just one of the examples that we had in that meeting. The police provided an active shooter training. On Tuesday, May 24th, the police department exhibited its first active shooter presentation to a local business since the start of the pandemic. The Vernon Police Department active shooter presentation was created in 2012 following several highly publicized and tragic active shooter incidents. Since then, the police department has shared its presentation with nearly 24 companies and organizations. The presentation is always well received and updated regularly. The presentation aims to provide the listener with the best practices to survive an active shooter incident and dispel the myth that an active shooter incident won't happen here in Vernon. The Bonhoeff lumber shooting in 2009 is evidence that the incidents can happen anywhere. The May 24th, 2022 Vernon Police Department active shooter presentation will be remembered as the most poignant. Sadly, as officers presented the material, participants in the audience began receiving the cell phone notification of the unfolding shooting in the elementary school in Texas. The presentation solemnly continued to the significant magnitude of what active shooter training presents to the businesses, and the materials presented were lost to no one. So the next slide is the group photo of the trainees and that attended in the presentation. And then the next one is the Vernon Public Utilities Mutual Assistant Network. On May 17th, Banning Electric sent an emergency need request to the SCAPA Mutual Assistant Network, which consisted of 12 publicly owned utilities. Vernon responded promptly and addressed Banning's needs, providing 14 power poles to prevent failure of transmission lines. If we don't participate and provide mutual assistance to our neighbors, the city will be less likely to receive help in a time of great need. Vernon Public Utilities was one of the only utilities available to Banning in this case. Mutual assistance among utilities is instrumental in helping a utility restore its power to its community when faced with a crisis that strains its own resources. So Banning will return the favor and return the power poles back to us. On the next slide, you can see the power poles being loaded. This is our inventory yard over at Soto. In this yard, we have a tremendous amount of inventory on hand. And again, the inventory that we keep on hand is able to restore power to our customers in a time of an emergency need. Given the timelines that we have right now and constraints in material purchases, we have an abundance of materials on hand, which is also a target by the community because of theft, right? They want to get in and try to steal the cables and so forth like that, and copper. So we do have security presence, but this was us loading the poles, and you can see that we have that type of pole that they needed in abundance. So we provided that pole to Banning, and we will get the poles returned to us soon. In appreciation, Banning sent VPU a letter thanking us for the inventory. Any question about the inventory or that we have here at Soto Yard? No. So next week, exciting news from the city clerk's office. Passport services will be now here in Vernon at the city clerk's office. So the city clerk's department has been certified by the U.S. Department of State as a passport acceptance facility. In the coming weeks, the U.S. citizens will be able to apply for passports at City Hall. Passport services will be available by appointment through the online appointment system on the city's website. The city clerk's department will also offer passport ID photo services. For more information, please contact the city clerk. Vernon's community engagement. Vernon's citywide spring cleanup was on May 7th. Volunteers joined the city staff to lend a hand in cleaning up along Santa Fe Avenue. Overall, the event was a success. Such cleanups will be reoccurring and are aligned with the city's beautification efforts and commitment to maintaining safe, clean streets, residents, and workers in Vernon. And then I'll show you some pictures of the event over the next couple of slides. The 2022 e-waste event The event is hosted on May 12th and coordinated by the Health and Environmental Department, Aon Global, and LA County Fire. Annual collection saw participation from 34 businesses. Some businesses made multiple trips to drop off waste. A total of 23 pallets of e-waste was collected. Properly reusing and recycling electronics prevents heavy metals and toxic materials from polluting our environment. Our e-waste event is a way for the city to promote practices that support a clean, healthy, sustainable environment for the community. And then we have the community engagement, which is the Dodgers Dreamfield unveiling. It was our pleasure to join the city of Maywood and the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation and the Southeast Rio Vista YMCA and their distinguished guests at the Dreamfield unveiling at Maywood Park on April 30th. Vernon is also proud to have played a part in making this ballpark a reality. Many community partners made this project possible. Vernon's created a plaque that will find a home near the entrance of the ballpark. A likeness to the plaque was on display during the unveiling, and installation of the actual plaque should occur around September, which is when the building on which the plaque will be mounted is scheduled for completion. So I have some pictures of the Dodger Dreamfield unveiling on the next couple of slides. I don't know if he's okay. So photos of the Dodgers Dreamfield unveiling, Dodger pitcher was on hand and was present to address the crowd and the kids and motivated speech and throughout the ceremonial first pitch. Then you have some additional pictures. And I believe Supervisor Hahn was at the event itself. So upcoming events, Thursday will be the graduation celebration summer kickoff on Thursday, June 9th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for Vernon residents. And then also Vernon's Job Fair on Thursday, June 23rd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. to help connect regional job seekers with Vernon businesses. And this concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I
Is there
actually
any
have
question?
two.
Go ahead.
Okay, your business breakfast, are you going to continue it every quarter or every?
Yes, we're going to
Public Works.
continue doing that. It was very successful and informative because we get to hear their perspective on what some of the issues that are affecting them.
Okay, and then number two is the active shooter training. Are you guys doing that every year at different businesses, or what are your plans?
Morning, Mayor,
Good
members of City
morning.
Council. Great question. We actually have a backlog of that training. We've got probably 20 other companies that are waiting for us to come out and present our active shooter training. The pandemic kind of slowed us down on rolling that out, but now we're active again, and that was the first one we had done in quite a while. So
Okay,
yeah, we're going to continue doing them.
great. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? We will now go on to public hearings. Agenda item number 3 is truck to rail transfer facilities within the city of Vernon. Public Works Director Wall will present the item.
Mayor, if
Honor-
I could clarify, do you have a report, Dan, or do we just want to table?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, the item previously brought before you would have amended the municipal code to allow for truck to rail transfer facilities in Vernon. Staff now recommends that this item be tabled indefinitely. City staff originally recommended exploring truck to rail transfer as a potential new revenue stream and that truck to rail transfer businesses be considered on a case-by-case basis. Upon further evaluation, staff has determined that the probable revenue stream from these businesses is significantly less than originally anticipated and not adequate to account for the potential impacts on traffic, local air pollution, and damage to city streets and facilities. This concludes my report.
Thank you. So we won't be doing,
So since it was a noticed public hearing, we should provide the opportunity for anyone wanting to address the council to speak, if there's anyone.
do you have any public comments on Zoom?
There are no raised hands on Zoom.
So it would be appropriate to, for a motion to table consideration of the ordinance.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Mayor Lopez to table consideration of ordinance number 1281. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go on to item number 4, and it's the city-wide operating budget, capital improvement plan, and appropriations limit for fiscal year 22-23. Finance Director Williams will present the item.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Mayor, honorable members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present for the council's consideration this final draft of the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2022 and 2023. Just by way of review for anyone who may be accessing the meeting remote, copies of this budget have been made available on the city's website as part of this report. And also by way of reminder for anyone unfamiliar with the process, the fiscal year begins July 1st each year, ending the following June 30. Now, over the last 3 budget workshops, staff has presented the draft operating and capital budgets with only minor revisions in between those meetings. And it should be noted that the draft presented is structurally balanced as discussed in the previous workshops. And this means that the cost of staffing, maintenance, and services are provided for out of the available resources. And it is expected that this financial plan will continue to add to fund balance reserves. We also noted in our discussions the mid to long-term challenges and areas of concern with the overall economy and cost escalations, and we will continue to monitor these activities on both the revenue and expenditure sides with budget to actual results. We will also bring forward any needed updates and recommendations as a result of the ongoing labor negotiations. So in conclusion, as council has had the opportunity to review the budget schedules over the last 3 meetings, staff is recommending the adoption of the 2022-2023 operating and capital budgets. And that concludes our report. And we'd like to take the opportunity to answer any final questions that the council may have.
Do any members of the City Council have any questions at this time? I now open the public hearing. If any member of the public would like to speak on this matter, please come to the podium or click the raise hand button. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and business affiliation, if any. Do we have any public comments on Zoom?
There are no raised hands.
I now close the public comment portion of the public hearing. Does the City Council have any questions of staff? Seeing that there are none, I hereby close the public hearing and open council deliberations. Once deliberations are complete, I will entertain a motion. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Davis to adopt resolution number 2022-15, approving and adopting the annual operating budget and capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2022-2023, and adopt resolution number 2022-16, adopting the appropriations limit for fiscal year 2022-23 pursuant to Government Code Section 7910. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will now go on to item number 5, military use policy. Chief Sosa will present the item. Good morning.
Apologize, mic was off. Effective January 1st of this year, this year, Assembly Bill 481 requires legislative bodies to adopt ordinances approving military equipment use policies before law enforcement agencies can continue to engage in specified activities related to the use of military equipment as defined under Government Code Section 7070. In enacting Assembly Bill 481, the legislature found that the public has a right to know about any funding, acquisition, or use of military equipment by state or local government officials in an effort to increase transparency, accountability, and oversight. As the first step in obtaining city council approval, the Vernon Police Department detailed its equipment inventory in the attached proposed military equipment use policy, which was presented to the city council at its regular city council meeting on April 19th of this year. While the Vernon Police Department does not possess any tactical equipment that has been obtained from the military, it does possess equipment that has been defined as military equipment by Assembly Bill 481. Many of the items designated by Assembly Bill 481 as military equipment have been in the police department's equipment inventory for decades. The proposed policy approves the continued use of equipment currently in the Vernon Police Department's inventory by authorized and trained personnel when the use is necessary to maintain safety. For added clarity, nothing in Assembly Bill 481 prohibits law enforcement from obtaining any of the listed equipment, but rather Assembly Bill 481 creates a public process for getting approval on the type of equipment that is authorized and the uses for that equipment. The use of the military equipment identified in the inventory section of the policy is vital to the Vernon Police Department's mission and will continue to be strictly regulated through internal processes and oversight. Without adoption of the ordinance and approval of the related policy, the Vernon Police Department's ability to respond to a critical incident and provide mutual aid when called upon would be compromised and potentially detrimental to public safety. The drafted policy has been reviewed and approved as to form by the City Attorney's Office. I'm happy to answer any questions the City Council may have or the public.
Do any members of the city council have questions of staff at this time? I now open the public hearing, if any. Oh, wait, do we have anybody on Zoom? Public comment?
There are no raised hands on Zoom.
Okay, I now open the public hearing. If any member of the public would like to speak on this matter, please come to the podium or click the raise hand button. You said we have none, right? I now close the public comment portion of the public hearing. Does the city council have any questions of staff? Seeing that there are none, I hereby close the public hearing and open council deliberations. Once deliberations are complete, I will entertain a motion. Is there a motion?
I'll move
for item
Ibarra.
number 5? I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Mayor Lopez to find the action exempt under CEQA, introduce and conduct first reading of ordinance number 1282, adding chapter 9.06 to title 9, public peace and welfare to the Vernon Municipal Code governing the use of military equipment, and directs staff to schedule second reading and adoption for the June 21st regular city council meeting. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion. Items may be removed from the consent calendar by any member of the council. Those items removed will be considered immediately after the consent calendar. Does council wish to pull any items from the consent calendar?
No.
Are there any public comments for the consent calendar? Do we have any on Zoom?
There are no raised hands on Zoom.
Thank you. May I have a motion for consent calendar item number 6 through 12?
I'll move Ibarra.
I
I'll
believe I heard a
second then.
second.
Davis was
Davis
first.
second.
Oh,
Okay.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Davis to approve the consent calendar. Mayor Lopez.
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will now go on to new business. For agenda item number 13 is a project funded by Senate Bill 1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. Public Works Director Wall will present the staff report.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, Senate Bill 1 apportions fuel taxes and vehicle registration fees to local governments for road repair based on population. The city's allocation for fiscal year 2022-2023 is $6,724. Regulations imposed on this funding require that local governments adopt a list of projects that this funding will be used for. The resolution before you adopts a street striping project is the project to be funded in part by Senate Bill 1 funds. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Does the council have any questions for item number 13? Are there any public comments?
There are no raised hands on Zoom.
Thank you. May I have a motion for item number 13?
I'll move Ibarra.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Davis to find the action exempt, exempt under CEQA and adopt resolution number 2022-17, adopting a project list to be funded by Senate Bill number 1. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will now go on to item number 14 is the commission and committee appointments. City Clerk Pope will present the item.
Thank you, Mayor. The item before you is appointments to the boards, commissions, and committees. The city has several commissions and committees that advise the city council and take action on behalf of the council. Currently, there are vacancies on the Business and Industry Commission, Vernon Community Fund Grant Committee, Green Vernon Commission, and Vernon Housing Commission. These vacancies were widely advertised and the applications received were provided to the council in the agenda packet. If it's the council's pleasure, I will go through each open seat for the council's recommendation. And at the conclusion, we can have one motion to approve all determined appointments. So the first vacancy, there are 4 vacancies on the Business and Industry Commission. The first are 2 seats for the business representative. There were 4 applications received. 2 are currently members.
I'd like to see Kathy Brown on it.
So a recommendation for the second seat.
How about Duncan Sakdeva?
If there's consensus, we'll go to the next vacancy. Hearing no opposition. The next is the Business and Industry Commission Employee Labor Representative. 2 applications were received for that term ending June 2026.
How about Hector Murphin?
Seeing no opposition. The next is for 1 vacancy on the Business and Industry Commission Real Estate Professional seat.
Reappointment of Thomas. Fonda.
Okay, seeing
Agreed.
nods, I will continue. The Vernon Community Fund Grant Committee, we have 1 area representative vacancy.
Leave it at Clara.
Nods for Clara. Business representative,
Leave it at Ronit.
legislative representative. This is actually just
Smart.
an affirmation. Perfect. Okay, moving on to the Green Vernon Commission, business representative. We have-
Ron Darren,
We have 2 vacancies.
Ron Darren,
Ron,
and Kathy Brown is my recommendation.
okay,
Agreed.
agreed. Thank you.
Sorry
And
for making you scroll up.
Actually, Kathy Brown should be the environmental representative under the Green Vernon Commission. So if there's somebody else you would like to select for the business rep position,
Clara is fine with me.
Clara and Ron. And then the environmental,
Kathy. Mhm.
Kathy. And there's still 1 vacancy. We just, for the environmental representative.
I thought Kathy was the rep.
There's 2 vacancies right now, 1 for the term ending June 2024 and 1 for the term ending June 2026. So if you know any environmental representatives that would like to apply, we are still trying.
I thought there was 2 environmental on these applications, but I think that one was for business and industry and the other one for green. I have to go back, sorry.
Yeah, there's not a environmental seat for business and industry.
I think in their qualifications, they had it. Can't remember. We're under VGC, right? Green. the
Green Vernon
this is
Commission.
green.
Mhm.
If we can't fill it, can we bring it back?
So it appears that Ron Dare
Ron, yeah, I see it.
indicated that he's been in the regulatory compliance environmental field for over 40 years. So it seems like he would be eligible to be the environmental rep.
So we do Kathy Brown as both Kathy and Ron for the environmental?
Yes, the only issue with that is that the one is just an unexpired term that goes for a year. So we could you'd have to decide who you would want it in the shorter term. And then they'd most likely be reappointed next year, but,
Well, let's do Kathy. I would
or in 2
recommend,
years.
I would recommend Kathy Brown on the 1 year and then Ron Dare on
For
the,
the two.
extended.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The first term is to 2024, which is 2
2
years from
years.
now, right?
okay, so,
But Kathy Brown is serving a shortened term from last time,
okay,
so
then
maybe,
flip it.
and then we would need one more up top for the business rep.
Clara Bustamante.
You have,
I'd recommend Ronit.
Ronit and Clara.
Yes.
Okay. Now the Housing Commission, there's one vacancy for employee of a Vernon business and one application was received.
I'm okay with that.
So we're recommending Steve. Okay, a motion to affirm those appointments would be great.
I'll move
I'll
Ibarra.
second Lopez.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Mayor Lopez to make the various appointments as indicated. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will now go on to item number 15 is the declaration of surplus land. Finance Director Williams will present the staff report.
Yes, good morning again, Honorable Mayor, honorable members of the City Council. The item before you, as the council recall, was tabled on May 17th. On that day, or at that council meeting, there were 2 properties being recommended for the as surplus. And that was tabled, but this item this morning is concerning the current property. So the current property only. And this is located in Tehachapi, and per the staff report, it is the remaining 16,500 acres. Now, this is a matter of compliance that's being brought forward. It doesn't obligate the city or the council to anything at this time. It simply is placing the property into surplus. It just stages the first of a number of activities that will be brought forward for consideration if the property is to be sold. Now, it is a matter of compliance with Government Code 54221, as well as the Surplus Land Act. And that is all that is being recommended this morning. So in conclusion, okay, that doesn't, this is not obligating in any purchase and sale agreement. If any of that is recommended, that will be brought back to the council for consideration at that time. So at this point, staff is recommending that this property just be declared as surplus land, public notice, and available for sale.
Does council have any questions of staff on this item?
I do have one. I was reading that if no notice of intent is received, the city may process the dispose of the parcel, but must record a deed restriction requiring 15% of residential units. You know, that part of it, even though it's a terrain land and you can't really build on it and you're in between all these windmills, we're still required to be available as residential?
We are, and that's, as I just briefly mentioned, this is a matter of compliance because it falls under the Surplus Land Act. Under normal circumstances, if we're talking about a property within town, especially if it were a residential city, that's where the Housing Community Development would get involved. That probably won't apply, but it is required as a matter of compliance.
That was the clarification. That's it.
Okay,
And I believe we do have our interim city attorney available to answer any questions.
we do.
Are there any further questions from council? Are there any public comments for item number 15? Do we have any on Zoom?
We have no raised hands on Zoom.
Thank you. May I have a motion for item number 15?
I'll move.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Davis to find the action exempt under CEQA and adopt resolution number 2022-13 declaring pursuant to Government Code Section 54221 that real property owned by the city of Vernon located in an unincorporated area of Kern County is surplus land and not necessary for the city's use, finding that such declaration is exempt from environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act and taking related actions. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Larios,
Yes.
Councilmember Merlot,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will now go on to oral reports. City Administrator Fandino, do you have a report for us?
Yes, I do, Mayor. So congratulations to the Vernon City's elementary class of 2022. The school will host their sixth grade culmination ceremony this Thursday at 9 a.m. and would like to invite the city council to attend. If you're interested in attending, please inform my staff. Chief Sosa will also be in attendance. 2022 graduation and summer kickoff. Vernon's summer kickoff is just around the corner. Please join us this Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. and acknowledge our 2022 Vernon grads, Vernon Community Fund scholarship recipients, and to celebrate the start of summer. Transportation is available for our Vernon residents, and please see the flyer on our website, cityofvernon.org, for details. City administration has received multiple reports and complaints from community members about graffiti in the city. We are aware of the issue. We're also working with HR to gain additional support with our street crews, as there is a deficit right now on employees available to do certain cleanup in the city. So with that, city administration will be working alongside with Public Works to hire a power washing company to come in and clean up some of the problem areas that we have. We'll have the contractor selected soon within the next couple of days, and then that way they can respond to areas of concern by the community and keep our city clean. The Vernon Housing Commission, the next Vernon Housing Commission meeting is scheduled for this Wednesday, June 8th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. A special Vernon Housing Commission meeting is also scheduled for Wednesday, June 29th, to hold a lottery for available city-owned housing, and interest forms are due to the city clerk's office by June 15th. And additional information is available to our city's website. And I believe in this housing lottery, we do have a 1-bedroom apartment, a 2-bedroom single-family home, and a 3-bedroom single-family home available. The upcoming community events, Vernon's Job Fair will be on June 23rd. Flyers and banners to advertise the event for job seekers will be out soon. So far, we have received a positive response from our Vernon employers and community partners, with approximately 15 tables reserved for the event already. We expect to receive more signups in the next couple of weeks. Based on the current reservations from employers, there will be over 75 jobs available in a variety of positions, including warehousing, administrative, machine operators, merchandiser, butchers, packers, accounting, forklift operators, maintenance mechanics, customer service, carpentry, and general labor. We look forward to assisting job seekers in the region to connect Vernon businesses that have job vacancies. With that, I conclude my oral report.
Thank you. Are there any reports from council? Seeing that there are none, we will now go to closed session for agenda items number 16 through 18. We are back from closed session at 12:13.
Dana?
City Council met in closed session on items 16 through 18. On item 17, David Moore versus City of Vernon, Workers' Compensation Board Appeal Case number ADJ 16019-205, City Council ratified settlement payment. There was no other reportable action taken.
With no further business, I adjourn the council meeting at 12:13.